What is up, everybody? It is Blind Metal Gamer here with you once again, and it is time for another discussion on a feature that could potentially make games for the PS6 accessible for blind and low vision players. This has been something that I've been thinking about for some time, and I wanted to discuss it with you all, and I wanted to kind of go over my thoughts on how it could be implemented, how it could be used in order to make these games blind accessible. And this all started with a conversation I had with my Echo Dot. And my Echo Dot said to me, she said, blind, they're, all PS5 games work with the screen reader. And I said, no, Echo Dot, they do not. Not all of them work with it. So here's, the feature I'm talking about. I'm talking about the screen reader itself. Now, for the PS5, it'll read the main interface, the cross media bar, the PlayStation Store, messages, things like that. Now, it'll also do Netflix integration, which is pretty cool, along with Prime Video integration as well. So they are integrating it on some apps, and YouTube has its own screen reader built in. So there's that. Now, you're probably wondering, Blind Metal Gamer, how does this have to relate to video games? Here's how. My theory is this: we know. All right. So to start off, really, we know nothing about PS6. All we know is that they're behind closed doors over at Sony in Japan and in America, tinkering away, working off, working at it, doing what they do, making us wait, right? We're probably not going to see PS6 for a few years yet. The prediction is at least until 2028, 2029. So Blind Metal Gamer probably won't get it until 2031 or 2032, depending on where he's at in life. So again, we don't know what they're cooking up. We don't know what they're doing and who's working on what. So my theory is this: if they're going to expand the PS6's screen reader, they need to include all games and all apps. Now, here's what I'm hoping they'll do. If they do this and they expand the screen reader to include all PS6 games to use the screen reader and all apps, that will be a game changer, nope, unintended, for games on the system because it would read, my theory would be was this: it would read all your in-game menus, all your text, everything you need to play that game as a blind player. Couple that with AI for like navigation assist. Let's say you have a game that doesn't have navigation assist. You could have a thing in the PS6 setting where it would maybe help you navigate the in-game world, along with the full screen reader support. So with that, you have the screener would read, let's see, all menus, anything related to gameplay, like what buttons to push, when, which would be very helpful for like fighting games, beat 'em ups, things like that. Now, as far as navigational assist and audio cues, I don't know how they would do that. I'm talking about the PS6 in general. And if they really improve that screen reader, let's say, um, I'll use Final Fantasy 16 as an example. I know that's a PS5 game. But one thing I would love to see for the screen reader for PS6 is optical character recognition or OCR. And I'm thinking if they would implement that, that would be perfect for games for the system that don't have native screen reader support built into their code. If the PS6 screen reader had OCR, it could. Let's say you're playing Final Fantasy 16 and the prompt comes up to finish your opponent, right? On how to finish off your opponent. You could push a button on the controller on PS6 if they do this to enable OCR, and it would read that prompt to you, just like with NVDA or JAWS. So there's that. So there's that, and then of course if they took advantage of the screen reader, they being the developers, it would be a game changer if if Sony would just give that screen reader open source and let these developers use it. You know what I mean? To make these games accessible on PS6. I know we got PS5 games coming up yet. We don't know what they're going to do as far as accessibility. I'm aware of that. So this is just me speculating and talking. Um, so an improved screen reader would be very, very useful for PS6. Maybe with OCR, some form of navigational assistance piece. Maybe with AI or something. Maybe it could take you to your objectives and whatnot. So there's that. And now, I've talked about that pretty much. Now, on a bit of an unrelated note, I want to talk about WWE 2K26. Unfortunately, it is not coming to the channel. I did get confirmed from my buddy Big T. It does not have a screen reader, so once again this year, gotta wait. Now, if they were to, do a PS6 version and they have improved screen reader support, they could use OCR to negate the lack of screen reader support in the game. But okay, um, as far as the screen reader support for PS6, if they would, like I said, make it where all games and apps would take advantage of it, it would make the everything more accessible on there, and it would make it a lot more useful. And then let's see, as far as what they're going to do, we don't know what they're doing yet. They've not even announced the PS6 publicly yet, so we don't know. So I want to just come on here and talk about this for a bit. So I'm going to wrap up. This has been my thoughts on how the improved screen reader support could make PS6 games more accessible when the console releases. We still got PS5 coming. More PS5 games coming. So hopefully they'll get it together as far as the screen reader and maybe lay the foundation. Who knows? They might update the PS5 with OCR. So we'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, I've been Blind Metal Gamer saying so long, peace out, and stay safe, everybody.